Perfect.
Okay, we are going to go live in 3, 2, 1. There we go. All right. Hey, everyone listening in and watching this co-hosting session with us today. I'm Eden Holt with The Connection Effect. And today I have Holly Schultz with Living. How do we say it?
Life Adventured.
Life Adventured. And today she is going to share a little bit about how she got started in this business, where the inspiration came from, and how you can connect with her. So thank you so much, Holly, for being here with me today. And yeah, just share with me what brought you to life, this adventurous, I don't know, exploration. Where did this all come from?
First of all, I'll say thank you to having me because when I saw that you did this, I was like, this sounds awesome. So let's do it. So Life Adventured has kind of been a long journey to get to this point. I believe that every day can be an everyday adventure if we choose to live it like that. I mean, sometimes it's a little hard to find the adventure and the good in life because it's a little crazy.
Yeah.
But, Life Adventured is truly trying to figure out how you want your life to be, because it's your life. It's your one true adventure. It kind of reminds me of the pick your own adventure. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably super dating myself here, but the books that you would get when you were a kid at the library, where you would read it and it would be this adventure story. And then you could get to a certain part and it'd be like, pick this page or this page to continue this way. So that's ultimately kind of what life is. And I kind of feel like that's what I've been doing, is slowly picking different things like, oh, I think I want to try this. And then it leads you a little bit this way. And sometimes you're like, that was not the best choice. Let's go back and try that again, or make a different choice and see what happens next time. And so that's kind of how it all has come to where I am now. It all kind of started in about 2018. The big push for me to really dive into myself more and figure out what I actually wanted out of my life, instead of just doing what everybody else was doing and, status quo stuff, because that was killing my soul.
Yeah, I feel like we could all use a little adventure in our lives. In fact, I encourage my own clients personally, when I'm sitting with a client and they're kind of feeling stuck, I encourage adventures and going out, getting outside of their comfort zone, kind of exploring what's out there, the unknown, but then also just learning how to familiarize themselves with exploring, because that's a whole other process, especially for people that are in that mindset of, that mundane day-to-day routine, and needing inspiration, needing some joy in their life. And so adventure is one of those ways to bring it back to who they are, to reconnect to themselves, but then also at the same time getting out and exploring and connecting with the elements or other people or places or things. So yeah, I definitely I relate to that so much in my own life, and definitely encourage that for others. So so tell me, you said that this kind of came about in 2018. What were you doing at the time that kind of led you here?
I think it's like the eternal quest for finding more. And in 2018, I had stumbled upon this mentor, and she did all these really awesome trips. And I was like, oh my God, to travel again would be amazing. Like, travel fills my soul, whether it's getting in the car and going on a little weekend thing, or just doing something at a park locally, or getting on a plane and going across the world. I love it in so many different levels. Yeah. And she had this thing where you could, she was opening it up to everybody. And I was like, well, whatever, this is never going to happen. And I was at my job At the time, I was an admin assistant for a financial advisor, and I was trying to fill it out and it kept timing out because I kept getting sidetracked. So finally I got it submitted. I was like, what? I don't even know what I said. Because, she's like, well, why should I pick you? I don't even know what I said. But then I got a call from her and I was like, whoa, what? And she said, I want you to come. And so I did. I figured it out and I went. And it was my first time in a very long time getting on a plane and going. I've never been. I went to St. Lucia.
Oh, wow.
This little island in the middle of no, I didn't even know where this place was. I was like, I don't even know where this is, but I'm going. And I knew I had to go because I knew something had to change. And I didn't know what that was, but ultimately what had to change was me. And that kind of started because we did, it was like training for business stuff. At the time, I was in a network marketing company and I was trying to figure out how to get that. But along the way in the last few years, I realized it's really me that I just needed to rediscover. And when I was traveling and not worrying about my kids or my job or how am I going to pay for this or what I'm, all the things that constantly like berate you through the day and through your life that get in the way of you actually trying to do things that are fun. For me, it's that's my fun. Everyone has their own different version of what their more looks like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what started it all. And just diving more into myself, like, what is it that I really wanted, and started looking and doing all of this. I feel like I've done so much work on myself. I'm like, and there's always work. So I feel like we are an eternal we're eternally in process.
Yes.
Because we always can grow and we can always be a better version of ourselves.
Yep.
And we never really arrive. We just get to the next thing and then we can always be a better version of ourselves. And so,
yes,
that's just what I've learned over the course of time. I'm like, it's like, what is it that I want?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I get that? And it's changed. Like, it's changed so many times. So I think sometimes people think they got to hold on to one thing and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be something that they love, but it may not be, if they want to build a business from it, that might not be what brings them joy. That might just be the thing that they have for them. And they build something else that they're really good at,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just finding it out as you go along and just knowing that as I've gone through it, I've realized that I really want to help primarily women,
Mm-hmm.
any woman who is looking to find her more, who is
Mm-hmm.
ready to kind of be like, what is it that I want? Because I didn't know what I wanted. I had an idea of what I wanted, but I really didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew that ultimately, like my big, like, oh my God, if I could ever get to this point in my life, it would be amazing. I knew that someday, but someday never comes. So you have to like make actions towards this. So I just like, I'm going to hold space for this thing. And someday this thing
Mm-hmm.
is, I want to be able to wake up every day and choose what I get to do that day. Yes, there are going to be things that are planned. Yes, there are things that I'm responsible for, but I want to be able to wake up with, today is my day. How am I going to do it? Instead of, I have to get up, I have to feed my cats, I have to get my kids to school, I have to get up and I have to go to work, and then I have to go to the grocery store, and oh my God, I hope I make it over here. And then I get home and then I do dinner and all of these things. And yes, those still will be the thing, but a different version of that, like, because I chose to, because I somehow had made it to this place where I get to choose what I want to do. And I'm slowly getting there. I don't know if I'll get there. I think I will, like the goal.
I think that you've definitely moved that needle forward. Mm-hmm. You're making progress and fulfilling a need inside of you that it's not selfish to realize what it is that you want and you desire and that you are capable of having.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that a lot of people struggle with, acknowledging that we live in a world, maybe a society, if you want to go there, that says, we have to work all the time, and it's selfish, and very self-absorbed to acknowledge what it is that fulfills us and brings us joy and allows us to really live our most optimal life. And in doing this life as humans. If we listen to the crowd, if we listen to the noise, we get lost sometimes. And so
You definitely do.
reconnecting to our purpose, our passion, our joy, can all come from adventuring. And, that,
And and also I just had a conversation with my son this week, and he was like, Mom, why are there like so many boring people in the world sometimes? And I'm like, oh, let's have this conversation. Interesting. I said, here's the deal. I said, everyone that you might think is boring is trying to be how they think society wants them to be. I said, give me the people that have the crazy, wacky ideas. Give me the people who have the crazy hair and all the tattoos and all the things, because you know what? Those people are working on being themselves and living their life to their standard. And the people that you view as normal are so scared to live who they are.
mm-hmm.
That used to be me. I super was scared to live who I still to this day. I'm like, I don't know, that might be a little too much to do. Right. But I said, there's so much freedom if you can just start. And it's about starting, just accept that this is who I am.
Yeah.
Let your crazy out, because your crazy is who you are. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all here for a reason.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Everyone has their different version of fun. Everyone has their different version of things that bring them joy and whatever, an adventure, because somebody might be like, oh, I am a super computer nerd because my kid likes computers. And my joy is building a computer with all of these parts. Well, awesome. If sweet. And maybe if you love it that much, you can help people build their own computers. And then from there, you can start a little side business, and then you end up, and it just keeps going and going. So it's just like finding the things that you love. And it doesn't have to be a monetary value, but the biggest thing you're going to get from it is the joy to your life, which we only have one. So I'm like, I need to stop. I mean, I still, every once in a while, I'm like, okay, I'm like, why does this feel weird? It's like, because I feel like I have to fit in this certain little box, and I should be doing all of these things. And it's always there, because it's, as I shift and other people shift and you shift and people around you shift, the whole world's shifting, but it's still, those things are still out there.
Yes.
But it's also, I think to myself when I see someone, if they're totally having a great, like there's this guy that walks down my street and he dances and like boogies down the street. And I'm like, I don't know if you have headphones on, and I don't care, because you are loving your life so much right now. And I just can't help but smile. Like I have no idea what's going on over there, but you are as happy as can be. You do not care. You're you're just being yourself. And I love that.
Yeah. And that makes me smile, because I am all about people living in their authentic, genuine selves, finding whatever it is that inspires them and moves them and, lights them up, and dancing down the street, whether it's to the beat of their own drum or the music that's in their ears. Embracing that and letting themselves just exist without expectations of anyone else around them, or anything else around them. And
also without explanation. I think sometimes we have to, there's the pressure of explaining or justifying. There's this weird, like, I have to explain to you why I'm doing this thing, or explain to you that this is the way I am, instead of just being like, this is just who I am. And I know it's very, I mean, it's a tricky little thing to be in, but if we can just, in honoring and being our authentic selves, we shouldn't have to justify or anything like that would make us kind of, put who we are down a little bit. Instead, we just need to raise up who we are, because that's the best version of ourselves. And sometimes we can't accept that, because we're like, well, that's not what I'm supposed to do. Take what you're supposed to. What do you want to do? What will you do? How will you do it? How will you live your life?
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that inspired me actually to become a coach. I loved helping people, but it drained me.
Yeah.
And I could not find my balance. I could not find that step forward because I was constantly holding myself back from reaching that next level. I was absorbing everyone else's energy and not holding enough space for myself. And so learning that, allowing myself to kind of shift perspective, but also aligning with what I'm supposed to be doing, which is helping people, but in a way that also is fulfilling for me, and moving forward, releasing attachment to expectations and looking forward to and chasing the dream of really making a bigger impact. And so, when we let go of that expectation that we have for ourselves to begin with, in that moment, and expand, that expansion and that awareness that that there's so much out there. There's unlimited possibilities to really open up and get excited about living. I think that is something that people think is a little maybe woo woo or a little wacky sometimes, but I think it's healthy to get excited.
It's exciting, and it can also be scary at the same time, because there's so many things, there's so many things that I have done where I'm like, okay. Like one of the scariest things that I've ever done was last September. I put in my notice from my job, and it was literally the scariest thing. When I knew I had to make that decision, I sat at my desk and I cried all day while I worked, because it was the scariest thing I ever had to do, because it was a situation that happened that we had many conversations about. I was like, please, I can't have this happen again, or I need to leave.
Yeah.
It happened. And I knew I had to go in the next day and put my notice in, but I didn't have anything set up. And I was like, I don't know what this is going to look like, but I know I have to do this. And this is so scary. Like, I've, all the bills, all single parent, all the things, so I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
But from that and making that decision, all of these things started shifting and happening. And I ended up becoming a contractor with other people within the company. So now I'm just a self-employed contractor. That's amazing. I never would have thought that would have been a thing, right? So it's just like, and then, and from those really hard places come things I couldn't have ever imagined that this is where I would be even a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
Because I was so scared to make a change. Like, I knew I should have left that job a long time ago, but I was so scared to make that change, because I was also totally okay living in the life I was living, because I could do that. I could do that really well. But I don't know what the unknown is, and that's scary. And I don't know if I can do it. And as you do those scary, hard things, you start to learn that, okay, this is going to be scary and hard, and I don't know what it's going to be, but guess what? On the other side of it, I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
Which you have to do those little, and sometimes it's little hard things, but that was like the biggest, scariest thing I have ever done. And, and I was almost going to talk myself out of it. Like, I was, no, it's fine. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to quit. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to stay here because it's solid. It's secure.
It's safe.
And it's so safe. That's, I built my life on it. It's not safe. I'm safe. And so just being able to make that huge shift, honestly, is like, I think the biggest thing that's propelled me to where I am today.
Yeah.
Because I get when people are in that place, like, especially single women and single moms who are stuck in this place of, I don't know, can I do it? And you're stuck in the same old every single day. Just, you got to get up and do it all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing, different
Same
day.
Same thing. But I can do that. Like, I knew I could do that. I can do this. I can just power through, and, yeah.
So,
yeah.
And since you have made that transition from working in that in that position that you were in September, and then stepping out outside of that comfort zone. And now you have all of these possibilities, opportunities to work as a contractor, independent contractor, I would assume.
Yep.
And you get to make your own rules, and you get to
It's the most relaxing job I've ever been. I think I was just talking to a friend and I said, I am finally realizing that I actually like being in my house for the first time. And I can't even remember the last time that I just was okay being in my house.
Wow.
I didn't feel like I had to go create something, or I had all this stress, because the amount of stress I think that I had from that job was more than I realize. You don't really realize how much stress you're in when you're in a bad situation. And then once you get out of it, and I knew in the past, I always wanted to travel, or I always wanted to go here and I always wanted to go there. I was never home a lot. I would always go out and do things because I didn't want to be there, because it was so, ugh. And after that happened, I'm like, I've always loved my house, but now I'm like, I really love being in my house. And so there's this different level of care for myself now I'm like, oh, there's things in my house that I probably should be doing. Not should be, I will be doing, And I'm in the human design world. I'm a manifesting generator, and to operate in that space, I operate best when I'm inspired. And so there are all these things, and I'm realizing that as I'm just being in my house, I'm like, okay, so we're going to just go through this closet right now, and we're just going to get rid of all of these things. And then be like, oh, that's coming. And I'll get to that eventually. And then when I feel like, oh, we're just going to go do this, and we're going to do it right now. It's going to be done in a few hours, depending on the project. And it's done. And it's, instead of, oh, I really should just, my house should be completely immaculate, and I should, do X, Y, and Z, and I should be doing this. It's like, no, how about I let myself be? Because I don't think we don't be. Being is like the new state in which I'm trying to be. And I think everyone should be. Everyone has a different version of it.
Yes.
Just to be present.
Yes.
In the moment.
Present. Yes.
Because we're not. And I mean, this thing gets
Yeah.
in the way, because it's very easy to tune everything out. And then instead of just being like, I think I'm going to try being bored. I'm going to try and get bored.
Okay.
It's weird. But, right? Like we always, we're like, go play. When you were a kid, go play.
Yeah.
Play. So I'm like, I'm going to try and be bored and see what does my boredom inspire me to do next?
I like that. I was actually just talking to a friend this afternoon about how I don't know what it's like to be bored, because my brain never shuts off. So even in a moment of quiet stillness, I'm still running 5,000 things, like the browsers, like there's 500.
There's a million of them open.
I'm like, do I click on this one or this or this one? Oh, I'll just leave that one up, and I'll come back to that one in a couple hours, but I need to focus on this one. And because I think I'm now at that point where I am inspired. I'm constantly inspired by everything that I come in contact with, which is a beautiful place to be, by the way. I cannot even begin to describe this feeling other than exuberant. I am just constantly excited and invigorated by everything. And it is a shift. It is strange coming from someone that was super anxious, super hard and critical of myself, and very observant and reserved, because I was taking in information and not really interacting with it. And so now it's like, I see a box and I'm like, ooh, that box, what can I do with that box? Can that box hold something? Should I use it for something? Do I paint it? No, probably just collapse it and put it in the recycling. I'm like, but that's boring. Why can't I do something with the box? Which is silly. it's silly, but at the same time, it's an awareness that, that transition from just being still all the time
Yep.
to absorbing the inspiration and the excitement and allowing it to flow.
Yeah.
So much so that I don't know what it's like to be bored anymore.
I'm
And
working on it. I haven't really got there because I do have a million things. I'm like, how can I just sit here? And then if something, I'd be like, oh, I need to look up. And I'll be like, oh my God, put your phone down, write it or I'll open up a note thing on my phone and take a note, like note to self. And then I put it away because I'm like, I do have a million things going. And it's also, it's endless. There's so much
Yeah.
possibility, right?
So many things.
There's they're all,
Yes,
that's
yes.
awesome.
Well, okay. So obviously, one of the reasons that I wanted you to co-host with me and for people to get to know you is so that you can share what you do to help people live life adventured.
So with Life Adventured, I do small travel trips and I do independent travel with women. So I really think the world is amazing, and if you want to travel, sometimes you want a partner. And because there's some things that you don't know. And I think as women, especially, we're supposed to know everything. And so if we want to travel, and just the thought of trying to figure this out, and it's specifically in Europe, I've traveled a lot over there. I'm very fortunate to have a great friend who travels all the time for work and will get plane tickets for me, which I'm like, this is the best gift I could have ever been given, because it's helped me learn how to navigate the airports, the mass transit, what happens when you miss your train. Because when you miss your train and you don't know where you are, let me just tell you, the feels come up, and like, how do you handle that? And so I can hold space for people as we navigate those things and help support them in that process. And with the small group trips that we do, it's and I mean, small to medium, depending on what, but I'm going to have one in November. It's going to be about 6 people and me. And it's just going to be, this one is going to solely be for soothing your soul. It's just, what does your soul need? I know what my soul needs to be soothed, so I'm going to kind of pack it around that. It's going to be amazing and fun. But like, to come and just be. And I know that, the holidays are coming. It's been a little crazy year just to sit and to be. And so also just supporting people. I am a huge cheerleader for people. I love finding out what it is that they love to do.
Yeah.
And I have a friend that I meet with. We have this neighbor night that we get together with, and I have a friend, and she was talking about all things Google. And I was like, what? I didn't know Google do that. She's like, yeah. And then it can do this and it can do that. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, listen, you have so much knowledge in this. Like, we need to build you. You need to build a course. I will help you build your course. I'll help you figure out what you need to do. She's like, well, I'm not good at marketing. I'm like, it's fine. We'll market it. It'll be fine. I'm like, just think about this. I'm like, because in a year and a half, you want to quit your job. And in a year and a half, if you have this going, that's going to set you up for when you quit your job. You won't have to be so stressed out in the transition. I'm like, so let's talk about it. And she's like, oh, I don't know. So I saw her a couple of weeks later. I'm like, you and we need to talk about this. I actually want this information. I want to actually figure out how to pay you for it, because I actually want this for my own business, because of the stuff that you know how to do with Google. She's like, really? And I was like, yes. Can we have a Google date and talk about it? She's like, well, I don't know. I was like, no, seriously, your course is already kind of like pre-built in my head. How can I help you see that this thing that you're so passionate about and you love, and you've just it's your thing, to bring it to the world?
Yeah.
Why not? And so when I see people do that, and it's like, okay, either I can help you or I can help you go the next little step. I mean, I don't know. I get excited when there's something that they love and they're like, oh, maybe it's silly, but why? Because it's not what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Is anyone else doing it? No. Then guess what? Get on it. Let's fill that white space with you and
Yeah.
let's get you going, because that's what you're here for something. We're all here for something. And if it's that little thing that you have a little niche for and it like sets your heart on fire, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's. And so, your life adventure is like literally living your adventure story.
Yeah.
I tried a bunch of
your
things before I realized, I tried a bunch of different things before I realized I was like, this is not, nope, this is not for me. I have decided this is not for me. And that is, and I'm okay with that. And I think that's too where I think we beat ourselves up because somehow I failed if this isn't the thing and this didn't work. It's like, no, you actually won because you realized it wasn't for you, and that now you can like let all of that guilt go, let all of those things go and start something new. What is it that you want to do? I think so. I don't know. I do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I just want people to live their best life. I really, truly,
yes.
I really like, I just want people to live their best life, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. That's exactly what I literally help people live a more joyfully connected life, because it's that internal cheerleader, but also like that awareness that it's possible. It's not just encouragement. It's not just holding their hand. It's literally showing them that it's possible to live joyfully and to live their best life. And that, yes, I so resonate with that.
And it's I always say that it's your life and it's your choice. And it's, how is it that you want to live your life? And sometimes I made choices that I didn't realize I was making because I was stuck in the pattern of like, I can do this. And then when you start to, I think, really start looking at what it is that you want and deep diving into yourself, and you have those moments where you kind of have like this overview of your life, and you're like, oh Lord, I don't think I want to do that anymore. And the thing is it's just it's the little adjustments that you make here and there that kind of bump you along the road of life.
Yes. Yeah. So, so on this adventure in November, are you able to tell us where you're going?
Yeah. So I'm going to be going to Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to rent a place right in the beach. I've never been there. It's somewhere I'm supposed to go. So I've never been there. We're going to go.
Okay.
And so the fun part for me is thinking about what is it going to look like. So I'm like, well, I think we need to rent a boat. Someone needs to drive us around on a boat. They have sunset cruise things. I'm like, okay, we'll probably have to do that. They've got a boat where you can take it out for a couple hours and it has a slide on it. So you can slide into the ocean. It's like, we might need to do that.
Yes. Yes.
And also, allowing space to be and just being. And of course, there'll be stuff that we'll talk. I'll figure out something that will be talked, depending on who it is, and it's who comes is also gonna kind of form what we're going to talk about and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Because, and what the group dynamic looks like. I know that I think I'm gonna have a photo booth there because I love photo booths, and the old photo booth where you get to strip of photos because it's so fun. I love them so much. And so I'm like, that would be really fun. They do rent them there. I've already looked that up.
Okay.
So it's just, figuring out, and then, what people want to eat. What are we going to do? Are we going to go out for dinner? And then all of that stuff. So
yeah. That sounds amazing.
If you want to come, Eden.
I feel like I'm getting
right now. So it's right now it's the 10th through the 13th of November. It's a Thursday mid-afternoon until a Sunday.
Okay. I'm going to look at my calendar.
I'm still I'm working on all the things and the pricing and everything. Cause I'm like, I haven't solidified because it's August, but I'm like, I got to get this plan. So that's what's coming next. I'm super excited about it because I think when we slowly start to take time for ourselves and truly take time for ourselves. And I know that some things that I have encountered is that there are women who are in relationships who feel guilty for taking time for themselves and spending the money to do that for them. And that's, one of the things we work on, because it's like, well, if you know you want to do it, have those conversations with your partner and say, this is something that I really want to do. How can we make it work?
Right.
And it's not the, like, you don't have your coffees. Okay. Like it's, you have your coffees, because I got a whole rant about that.
Yes.
But like, it's, having a conversation and, what is it that you want? Because each of you both do things in that relationship. There's both things that you want to do. And so maybe you switch up something that you wanted to do to go do, and it doesn't have to be with me, but it's something that you want to do for you. I feel as, I even know that when I was married, I always felt like I felt this guilt for asking to go on a trip or taking time for myself.
Yeah.
Even though my partner at the time ran marathons and would travel all over the country, I still felt guilty. So it's like there's this weird thing, I think, as women that we carry, or partners, just, it doesn't even have to be women. It could be anyone in general, that, there's that weird thing that we have around it. And I think actually getting clear, like, what is it that you're afraid of? And is that really going to happen? Because I think if you can just have good conversations and saying, this is something that I like to do. How can we make it work? And if not this time, what do we need to do in the future? So when something does come up, I can do it. And what is it that you want to do? How can we plan for something that you want to do, so that you're both taking care of yourselves? And if you're a single parent, how can you take care of yourself in the middle of that and call in your support team? Because I call in my support team all the time, because it's primarily me. So it's like, just, having those conversations.
Yeah. And also, not to discount those conversations necessarily, but to also build on the awareness and acknowledgement that as we age, becoming adults and living in a fast-paced world, regardless of what we do in our daily lives, whether it's a 9-to-5 job or coaching or contracting, whatever it is, we are expending energy for someone else. We need to give ourselves permission to exist as humans, to replenish and to restore that energy for ourselves. It's not just a suggestion. It's not just for fun. We absolutely have to restore that energy, or there will come a time when our bodies and our mental space are no longer capable of continuing. So, whether it's a 4-day trip to sit by the ocean, or to go hike, or to sit on the couch if that's necessary. But, and it doesn't have to be lavish. It doesn't have to be extravagant. If that's what it takes in order for us to fully integrate into ourselves, I advocate for that, because it's so important. It's so important for us to be our own individual without our significant other, or our partner, or our children, or all of the other things that we also have in our lives, because truly, at the end of the day, we are still a whole human.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that, because this is what I love the venture part of it, and I love the getting out. I really love connecting and meeting with new people. And when I think every time I do a trip, I find a little piece of myself that I didn't know I was missing, or I didn't even know existed.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't know that. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just the slightest little, oh, I really like that. And it's not anything crazy. It's just like, oh, you know what? I've never seen the sunset like that. I've never seen water like that. I love that. I need that in my life more. And then I will put a screensaver on my computer, so I'm reminded of this beautiful thing that I love and I saw,
Yes. Yeah.
I have a slight affinity for fire hydrants, and my one friend that I travel with is just like, oh my God, Holly. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, taking another picture, taking another picture. You know why? Because I love fire hydrants and they're different everywhere you go.
Yes.
And like, really, I was like, yeah, someday I'm going to compile a coffee table book of fire hydrants.
You might as
Probably
well.
just for myself. But it's like, I didn't realize, it's like one of the things that I discovered when I first started meeting her, when she would travel abroad. I was like, this is fantastic. There's so many different ones. And she's like, oh my God, you and your fire hydrants. Like, that's right. Me and my fire hydrants, and I love them. And you can just keep on walking. I will catch up eventually. You know, so it's like just, and it's these weird little things that you find. You're
Yes.
like, guess that's one of my things.
Yes. Yes. And you know, that is so funny because I have a friend that is obsessed with feathers.
Oh, yeah.
Feathers. And it, you know, feathers come from living things, but you
Yep.
know, just the uniqueness of them
Yeah, they're
and the
beautiful.
placement
Yeah.
of them and
Yeah.
you know, the symbology. But yeah, they are very fascinated. So when they travel, they pick up these feathers, and it's almost like children and rocks. It's kind of
Yep.
cute
I
and
I
endearing.
also pick up rocks on all of my travels.
Yes.
I do. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll get
Yeah.
home and I'll empty out my suitcase. I was like, oh, that's right. I put that in there. Just, and
Yeah.
they're always little teeny tiny rocks. I was like, oh, you're cute. Why don't you
Mhm.
come home and live with me? You can remind
Yeah.
me of this amazing time that I had.
Yes, and it holds the memories of
Yep.
that time and space
Yep.
where you were exploring and you were absorbing that energy and that e- environment, that atmosphere where you found that rock, that piece of memento.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
that's yeah,
Yep. Everyone has their own little thing. We all,
yeah,
I think sometimes I'm like, it's my quirky weird thing, but I love it when people are like, oh, this is kind of weird. I'm like, bring it on. I'm sure we all have it. And like,
yeah.
why not? Because then, you know what? If randomly people started sending me pictures of fire hydrants, I'm like, I have arrived in my fire hydrant land.
I am finally where I'm supposed to be.
You know, but it's like, okay, that's crazy and weird, but yep, it makes me smile, you know?
That's good. That's good.
Anyway, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. So we talked about the trip in November to Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah.
And you're going to invite, you said 6 people?
Yep.
Does
5
that
to 6
include
people.
yourself? Okay.
5 if I include myself. I'm thinking 6.
Okay.
I'm thinking probably 6 if I'm gonna see how many, you know, who ends up wanting. And if
Okay.
I have 6 people who are like, yes, I want this, then absolutely.
Okay.
But
And so how do people connect with you? How do they get a hold of you? How do they say, yes, Holly, I need to be on this trip?
they can comment in this video also.
Okay.
That'd be a
Okay.
good like first start. I don't have a website yet because I'm still figuring out all the bells and the whistles of that. So that's still in process. And so I am on Facebook, Holly Schultz, SCHULTZ, Holly spelled with a Y. I think you probably tagged me in this.
Yeah.
And then I am over on Instagram, and my little handle over there is Holly, and then SCHMN is my username over there. So that's that's probably the easiest way. Shoot me a message.
Okay.
Get it. We'll connect.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm really gonna look at my calendar because I feel like also there is something interesting. I'll have to tell you the backstory sometime later, but at one point in time, my intuition was calling me to the ocean, and I went to the ocean, and it like my whole life changed before my eyes. It was amazing. Also kind of scary and weird, and like, this is not possible, is it? Like, what is this? It was just really strange. But it was incredible. And I have been back to the ocean 4 times since then. And that was in 2018. I'll have to look it up, but I found myself
Yep.
listening for the ocean to call my name. It was so funny. I was like,
I have left a lot of sorrow in the ocean.
yes, it's
I
so
have,
therapeutic. Oh my
it
God.
is, it's amazing. Just, and you can let so much go, but you also get so much in return.
Yes.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
every time I go, I'm like, I just need to like literally a lot. I plan time if I'm there for
Yeah.
whatever reason. So I have time and space to sit on the beach and be,
Yeah.
because if I need to sit and cry
Mm-hmm.
and let stuff out, it's like, you're going to take it all for me. It's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then this is going to like soothe my soul in like
Mhm.
such a way that I didn't know I needed.
Yes.
Always different,
Yeah.
that is, I'm gonna have to, I'm excited to hear that story.
Yeah. It's really cool. In fact, I wish I could share it with the whole world because it really is. It's so good. But
Maybe we should.
that's
You should have a coffee date with yourself on here. Have you done that yet?
oh, that's a good idea. I should have a coffee date with myself. I love coffee
Then
dates.
you can tell that story on here.
Yeah, I should do that. Thank you for that inspiration. I'm going to make a note. Coffee
Yeah,
date with
please
myself.
do. I'll be looking for it.
Okay, so we've got a date and a place and a way to connect. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
I don't think so. I think the only thing I just hope is that they really just do it, brings them joy. Like
Yeah.
it, and it's not every day. Like today I had to get up and take my cat to the vet because something's wrong. And it's like, oh, that is not joyous because my cat's hurt. And because the bill, I was like, wow, things have really gone up since the pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, but like this, and like, I know that, it was beautiful outside. I got to spend some time outside and
Mhm.
just finding the little things. It truly is about the little things that bring you joy,
Yeah.
because then you can go do the bigger things. There's
Mhm.
all those different lanes. If you can find the little bits,
Mhm.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. And very wise and useful information and suggestion. And I think one of the reasons that I was so excited about having you as a co-host with me today is that I know you on a personal level, and I've seen your transition over a couple years.
Yeah, I think it's been 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been inspiring, but it's also like it is that little boost of encouragement and empowerment, to watch your journey and to know, where you were and where you are now. And now you're leading other people to do that. And that is, obviously that's what I love the most about it, but getting to see that with you, elevates that even more. So
Thank you
thank
for
you
that.
so much for sharing, your
It's been
story.
also exciting watching you on your journey. Just to say that
Aw,
is,
thank
I think when you have women or people in your world, and it's one of the coolest things is to be able to watch them and inspire them and cheer them on,
yeah,
because we need a community. We need people to cheer us on. And it's just, we don't talk much, but I'm always cheering for you,
yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
I know that it's exciting to watch, and it like makes me really happy when I see people out there, and I'm like, oh yes, go.
Yes, and it feels good too,
Yeah,
even
it does.
even knowing that maybe whatever someone else is doing is not really my cup of tea, but they are lit up and they
Yep.
are just
Yep.
running.
Go get it.
That
Just go
that
get
is
it.
like, yes,
Yes.
yes. I mean,
Yep.
and people used to tell me all the time, like, surely you can't be that happy. Like, surely that's not real. I'm like, no, really. It is very real. And it comes from this part of me that um I get excited by knowing that someone else is succeeding in whatever they're doing. But that pure momentum, and because I know what it's like
Yep.
to, start the process, start those wheels moving, get the cogs going, and then to see it just take off. And that is like, oh.
Awesome. I think that's one of my favorite things is when I see someone that I know like going after it, and it's because because you know what, as we all start to go after what we want, like what would happen if we all did the things that we brought us joy? What would our world look like?
Oh my God.
Instead of doing what we thought we were supposed to do because we're supposed to do something, like if everyone was doing what brought them the joy and they were excited about, that, like, I don't even know what that would look like. It's kind of like a little mind-blowing to be like, I mean, it would be really great, but I don't know what that great looks like, because it's a greatness I don't think we've ever seen before. It's like what I love that. It makes me so happy because because you can see the happiness in them, and because they did it.
Yes.
When we have that pride in ourselves, like, look, I just did that. That's huge. I think I lost you. Oh no.
Are you still there?
Are you there?
Sorry.
I'm here. No, you're good. I was like, oh no.
I know, we're doing so good.
The interwebs, they have their moments. It's all good. We've all been there.
Especially with Zoom, right?
The new way of life, Zoom.
Yes. But you know what? I have come to appreciate the fact that I can connect with my friends.
Absolutely. Oh, I love Zoom.
Across the world. And, if I curse Zoom, I'm probably cursing myself, because, I love it.
The internet. The internet's the one. Zoom is amazing. I love Zoom.
Yes.
The internet's, they're like, hold on, please, let me mess with you a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Like, how much patience do you have today? Do you have a little more or a lot more? How much do you... So true. Oh my gosh, my hair is crazy. Sorry, that was random. So I think that's about all I've got for you. You offered your wise suggestion and advice, and I appreciate that. And I really do hope that our audience members that are listening in will reach out to you, get connected, and if nothing else, watch your adventures that are coming, because I know that they are going to be stellar and amazing and very inspiring. So
I'm excited. I'm actually leaving on a trip on the 13th of September.
Ooh.
Very excited. So
good.
I'm going to Northern Ireland with a wisdom gathering that I am part of for women.
Whoa.
It's a week-long thing. I love Ireland. It's an amazing place. So I'm excited. I'm very excited to go.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I've got. So for our listeners out there, our audience, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for joining us on this fun little adventure, listening to Holly share about her business and how you can get connected with her. I will make sure to link all of her information in the comment section. So if you want to reach out to her personally, you're welcome to do that. Definitely stay tuned for our next episodes. We've got some exciting people coming on with me. If you know someone that would like to co-host with me, feel free to reach out to me or have them reach out to me personally. For today, I hope that you are all doing well. And until then, we'll see you later.
Thank you.